comes Mike. Mike from around the world.
There's a Paul. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Mike, all right, I'm going to play something for you. Hang on. What? Okay, look, guys. The NASA recorded this sounds from deep space. I'm just saying that I think it has to be some kind of waves of energy, because I don't think it's anything supposed to really be moving up there in space. Folks, tonight we got with us Mike from around the world. Mike, how's things going tonight?
Good. You know what? I'm going to have to give you a narrowed down version of that chart. I was informed that there's no way anybody could understand that chart. But there's an image that goes with it also. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to give that to you probably Monday or Tuesday. Okay, but that chart was so complex; it was huge. It was a huge file.
Now,
so I have to condense that data.
You're going to condense the data for me?
I have to condense that data. I was pulling that chart out, and I was going to do half of it. Half of it is very complex, so I have to condense that. But there's an image that goes with it, an origin image.
So Monday or Tuesday, you're going to send that to me through email, but you'll condense it first before you send it.
Yeah, that chart, the data in the chart, Pastor Paul, I'm going to break down in 10 sections. I will eventually put those 10 sections in a PowerPoint presentation. I'll be working on that for the next week and a half, but there's an image that goes with that chart. Okay. And it gives all those data points in there, are most of them are originating from one spot, one place, one spot. And I want you to see that image.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about the sounds I just played?
Well, no, not those sounds.
Okay.
It'll be I believe what you just heard was celestial resonance. I would call that celestial resonance. Each body out there produces a type of wave patterns. Let's put it that way. And they can take a computer and record those wave patterns, speed them up, and you have that sound like Saturn. Saturn produces, actually Saturn is quite beautiful what it produces, but it just so happens that Saturn's sound waves match up with the musical notes on the musical notes that we're familiar with.
So, so when Isaiah 24:16 says that there's songs in the heavens, we should just accept it. There's songs in the heavens, right?
Yeah, more and more scriptures that we once thought, because we didn't know too much, 100, 200 years ago, we didn't know too much, but not to be arrogant now, but we know more than we know 200 years ago. Well, some would argue the opposite, but we're beginning to find out many of the things in the Bible that were once thought to be some type of metaphor, analogy, or something like that, was in fact a simple statement of truth. For example, the trumpet blasts, right? Yeah. Part of the data for the trumpet blast is also in a series of charts, but there's something that has been observed. Now, you can only observe sound through atmosphere that we would hear with our ears. Well, something happened to Mars, and it has enough atmosphere to detect sound. And something of a trumpet blast was heard by the passage of something, a very small one, with that scenario and simulations on a larger scale. The writings would seem to be true. There are documented writings of just about every civilization that said that people heard a trumpet blast that pierced their bones. It was loud. It made people's ears bleed. It was overwhelming and continuous.
Mike, let me ask you a question. We just had information come in that NASA was able to capture this incredible explosion on a distant star. The name of that star is HR 9024. Yeah, and it's called Andromeda. This thing's huge. My question is, the waves of energy, we know it's affecting the sun, it's affecting the earth, and I think I've heard you say it's affecting everything. Can it cause that type of a massive, we're putting it on the screen right now, folks, you can see it. I've never seen the sun explode like that. So this star that exploded like this is insane. Could the waves of energy be causing this?
Well, it could. It very well could. And the reason why I say that is because a CME, like a flare or any other ejection from the sun, is normally spawned by magnetic field lines. And then you have an intensity, a buildup of those field lines. Over time, they can't hold the bands together. The forces of the sun can't hold those bands together, and they pop. It's like a rubber band popping. Well, they pop at near the speed of light, and they just eject particles super fast out into wherever it goes. So if you could, in theory, not in theory, it's a fact, if you can target or just emit large amounts of high-speed particles, you're going to affect the electromagnetic field of any object they tend to interact with. Since that is the case, you can increase the magnetic field lines of force in a star, in a magnetar or something like that. If that is the case, which it is, then you would have a likelihood of ejections. Doesn't matter if it's at solar max or solar minimum, but you could have some off-scheduled ejections. It is my belief that we're going to face the same thing. We're going to have some ejections that are quite big.
So, okay, and that's huge, because what that means is that the charged particles are being easily magnetized and connecting things. Okay, so there seems to be like kinetic energy or connective energy. That brings me to another article that just came out. Astronomers have spotted a mysterious 10 million light year long magnetic field connecting two galaxy clusters. They say that the scientists have detected the radio waves emanating from space between a pair of galaxy clusters that are 10 million light years apart, but evidence of intergalactic magnetic fields, fast-moving particles, it says, in space between these two giant galactic areas, the universe, because these fast-moving particles that are intergalactic magnetic fields has caused two separate galaxies to interact. They're interacting with each other through magnetic connectivity. Mike, is this and the two galaxy clusters are Abell at 0399 and 0401. These two different galaxies. Has this happened before, or is this a result of the charged particles coming off the Planet X or Nibiru or dwarf star or binary system, the waves of energy?
Well, I have to challenge that article, because to my understanding, it's not the first time they observed a close proximity interaction by way of observed magnetics of any star system out there. They've seen this quite a bit, sporadically, but quite a bit, meaning maybe once or two times, and then this one. But the sheer strength of any field or any particles that will exchange on a continuous basis to keep these two bodies locked in is enormous. That means something is emitting a force beyond what can be calculated. Physics does not apply to that. It must be an exotic particle no one knows about, because magnetic field lines of force, although they travel throughout the galaxy and they are related to gravity, there's just, that can't happen. But it is happening, right? According to physics we have now, that can happen. It should let everybody know that our physics is basically, we're in a romper room. We have romper room physics. We don't understand everything out there. There are forces that just make us look very small. And what their detection of what's emanating. In fact, they should have said it was a radio burst. That's a radial burst, which means, and it's continual, meaning something. It's almost like something is generating something on a continuous basis.
That's what,
and because the detection is between the two systems, what could be in between the two systems that is generating that type of energy, yet it by itself cannot be observed, right? It can't be seen over the galaxies, but something is certainly there. And I think it's this is the second time they have seen this, but I believe with new detection method, they're kind of blown away at the data coming back because they speculated before that the optics were making a mistake. In fact, this is why that article is funny, because they said, hey, these instruments aren't right. Do you know they had several redesigns of their instrumentation because they were picking this up? Because they said it's impossible. Carl Sagan said it was impossible.
Right.
Einstein's mathematics state it's impossible.
Right.
But nevertheless, you see it happening, which means we have a change. That should be an eye-opener, for all the individuals in science that say this is impossible, this is impossible. They got to stop doing that, or it's going to take them out. Right? Because we have closer forces that we're also observing. Number two, Pastor Paul, let me ask you this. How can they observe such intricacies from so far away? What are they observing that with? An Earth-based system? Are you kidding? Going through the atmosphere and our magnetosphere, and they're observing that type of data that close, right? So they actually told on themselves about several things in that article. So that's more of a relay station type of observation. But what we see, not only in that spot, but in other spots of observation, right? We see an increase in activity in existence itself. An increase all over the place in existence itself, meaning everywhere they look, they're noticing an increase in activity of just about everything.
Yes. What they're doing, Mike, we on Earth, we can see. We got 18% more radiation level on the Earth now than we had 3 years ago. We have record volcanoes, earthquakes, extreme weather conditions like we've never seen, like cyclone bombs of snow in the middle of April in Nebraska. We have a record flooding, Mississippi River, Arkansas River, Missouri River, the Wabash, where I'm about 2 miles from where I'm at, overtop the roads. There's several rivers all the way down. We have a storm coming up out of the Gulf. It's pouring the rain, 9 inches of rain just outside of Houston today. The entire Mississippi River is going to be flooded from rains that's going to dump on it tomorrow, while all the rivers above it are flooded, rolling down. Little Rock's in danger. We're praying every day for it. And then think about this, Mike. We're breaking records everywhere. We got sinkholes opening up everywhere. We got signs of everything, charged particles, lightning bolts. You said all of this was going to happen. Okay, you said everything that I'm saying. You said this 6 years ago. Here we are, waves of energy. Now we got stars out there blowing its top. We got galaxies connecting with some kind of charged particles that nobody even. We're blowing away. Einstein would be freaking out right now if he was here. Everybody, Stephen Hawking's nervous if he was here. It's really insane, isn't it? So let me ask you. The moon is shrinking. I didn't say it. They put me in Sputnik and everything, but I said that NASA said it. NASA said the moon has shrunk 11%. It's collapsing inside its core. Since Apollo 11, it has shrunk 11%. Mike, and listen to this, Mike. There's water up by the Baltic Sea, just north of Russia. Just before you get to the Arctic Ocean, it's 84 degrees. The temperature's 84 degrees, and it's average. It's supposed to be 54. What's going on, Mike?
Underneath the Earth, well, first of all this influx of particles, it's really taking a toll. It is right now. It is. We're at the moment where people really think they have nothing to worry about. Right? This is what they think. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with resonance vibrations, and you're dealing with charged particles that you cannot see radiation, right? Exotic radiation. At first, you don't notice any change. Small symptoms begin to form. If a person were exposed to radiation, right? It's a cumulative effect, which means it builds up over time. As it continues to build up in the earth, it's going to cause more problems. It's heating up everything, all the systems of the earth, whether theorized or not. It's causing our sun to burn brighter. The sun is burning brighter. You know, there's an actual luminous chart from the sun. I don't know. That should be headline news. Is why is the sun burning at least 15 times brighter than it was in 1985?
What?
Why is it burning so bright? And then you have not only that, but you have chemical changes in the sun, right? Optically, you can detect particles. They're sending probes to the sun, not so they can see it better and study CMEs. They want to know the chemical compositional change of the sun, because it's a clock to how long we have. Whatever changes happen in the sun is also going to happen in the core of the earth, because it's affected by the same radiation that's hitting us. And the sun has a much more powerful field ratio than we have. So the earth is taking in all these exotic particles. Things are happening in the core of the earth. It's mutating things. Things are coming alive. You know, sea life is just gone awry. Another magnetic field formed in the ocean. Why is that not on the news? Of a magnetic field was detected in the ocean. And it was about, I think it was about 800 feet below the ocean surface. It formed, and it started causing the sea life to act very strange. If a magnetic field fluctuates in the sea, right, because animals use it to navigate, if it begins to fluctuate or become stronger, they're going to lose their direction. They're going to start beaching themselves. They're going to stay in the water. They'll just, they'll totally freak out.
Mike, where, okay, you're saying there's a new magnetic field has opened up in the ocean. Can you tell us which ocean? Is it the Atlantic, the Pacific?
That was the Atlantic Ocean.
Is it up in the north, up in the northern part, or?
It's parallel with, that's in the northern regions, but it spanned all the way down to the Carolina coastlines.
So it's near the United States? I mean, like,
yes. It's a big field, though. We're talking a hemispherical field. We're talking about a field that will cover the entire northern hemisphere. We also have growth in the anomaly. I'm going to say it's the magnetic anomaly, of which cause aircraft problems and troubles. It's grown another 20%.
Whoa!
If it begins to encompass this earth, we're going to lose GPS systems in various areas. We don't have any GPS systems that can actually sustain themselves over that anomaly. You have to be well above that anomaly, or you have to totally get out of the way of that anomaly, because the magnetic fluctuations there can tear up equipment. It can wreak havoc on equipment.
Okay, when you say equipment, let's talk for a minute. What about the planes starting to crash, and these little planes that crash and fall out of the sky? Is that due to the magnetic fields that are opening up?
Planes can't fly through that anomaly. They cannot fly. They are diverted outside of that anomaly.
Bermuda Triangle? I mean,
no, not that one. This one is it's a known anomaly. Something that is a disturbance, and it's been there for a long time. It doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's growing. It's actually increasing in size.
Well, what's causing it to grow? Is it the waves of energy? Is it the gravitational pull or the magnetic effect?
Well, it could be a combination of quite a few things, but to have it grow, to have it begin to grow over the earth, means it's going to shut down certain systems in various places. There'll be no-fly zones increased all over the place, because an aircraft can't go through that area. They can't be shielded against that type of magnetic concentration.
Is that why AOC wants to shut down all the airplanes and build bridges over the ocean? Is this man-made, Mike?
No, that anomaly is not man-made. That anomaly was found a long time ago when we began to use navigational equipment that was, based on a compass, and it was detected by compasses. It's so bad and it fluctuates so bad that everything had to turn into a type digital system with the GPS systems to get rid of any type system that would depend upon magnetics, because the North Pole is also shifting all over the place, the magnetic North Pole. So all this manual equipment, the mandate for everything to go digital, they foresaw, right? It's not just some development economic thing there. It's not for new tech. It's because they knew that we're going to have a problem with magnetics on the Earth. They knew this back when they knew this back in the 70s. They knew it was coming. They knew these anomalies were coming, and they certainly knew about that anomaly that's growing over the Earth right now.
Brock's got a question for us coming in here, Mike. He says, is the iron oxide from the Earth's core messing with our magnetosphere?
Well, our magnetosphere is generated from inside the Earth. It is theorized inside the Earth, which I believe something inside the Earth is generating it, right? Now, again, it's a dynamo. It's a theorized dynamo. All dynamos, at what point do they recharge? And what happens if you overcharge a dynamo? Well, you're going to have a change in the materials of which causes that dynamo, right? It's perpetual motion because it's been spinning for a long time, right? What keeps it spinning? You're looking at a completely balanced system that'll blow your mind. So, but the chemical composition is starting to change, because if you have known metals like nickel and iron oxide, things of that nature inside the core, copper, all these things inside, most of it, a lot of it, that nickel-based metallic fluids floating around in there, if you begin to alter the radiation coming into it, right, and you have exotic particles that are increased, maybe you have more, maybe in 1 hour, maybe your proton count is up higher than your electron count, or maybe you have some overpowering particles, you're going to have a structural change, right? It's like CERN. With that collider, they don't end up with the same substance they began with. They break up these particles into smaller particles. The same thing is happening inside of the Earth. So then guess what? Whatever's in the Earth, right? Whatever's in the Earth, as it absorbs the radiation, is going to become a hyper, right? Like a child who just had chocolate.
Yep.
And when this happens, ironically, you would think the Earth would speed up in its rotation, correct? No. What will happen is you're going to have an expansion event. That expansion event is going to slow down the core. It's going to slow it down. So you're going to have fluctuations in the spin of the Earth. The days that we see, they're going to become non-constant. I mean non-constant due to a double wobble. This will change everything inside the core. Right now in the Atlantic Ocean, a lot of nickel is being ejected in the Atlantic Ocean. And that comes from the core. It's a lot of nickel. There's a crack in the Atlantic Ocean that's growing every single day, every single year. So we have a problem there too. And,
all right. Well, okay, folks, Mike from the World's with us. Listen, folks, there's 3,111 people with us live at YouTube, plus everybody else. Would all of you do something for me? Let's really beef up the algorithms, and it'll help alert a lot of folks we're on. If you all will push the thumbs up right now, if all 3,112 of you will hit that like button right now, it will spike the algorithms and send people in our direction that something's going on over here. And we've got Mike from around the world with us tonight. He always, as always, brings a great perspective, scientific analysis, his intelligence information he has. He never says anything that's classified. He always stays by the book. But he gives us information that nobody knows about because, as you just said, Mike, it's not being reported out there. And partly, Mike, they probably don't know what you're talking about, okay? I mean, some of these reporters I watch, the talking heads, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just reading the lines. So I'm not going to give them an excuse for it, but they're hiding some information out there, Mike. The heavens are shaking. Jesus told us, Mike, the heavens are going to shake. Now, they're shaking, and everything's breaking out there. And the charged particles, it's affecting the planets. Mike, okay, I got to bring this up. Mike, when we had our conference in Cincinnati, we were told that when we talked about this last time you were on 2 weeks ago, and I don't want to labor it, but there was going to be a Jupiter collision. And Jupiter's going to go through a debris field. Will that collision affect us any?
Sure it will.
In what way, Mike, will it affect?
Sure it will. Well, do you remember when Levy was at the last collision, the small, tiny little happening that happened with Jupiter? Do you remember that?
Yes.
The Levy 9 incident. So, did you notice the weather events following that, what was happening in the earth following that, a lot of people missed it. And part of that is due to the way we think, right? I'm forced to be wired different, let's put it that way. So I can't think within the confines of what is known. In fact, if the world agrees with it, how can it be right? So there's always a backstory, something else. And in engineering, you often find out that what you were taught no longer applies. Basically, that is to say, it was wrong, it was incomplete, it was flawed, and you learn the true methodology and different things with technology and with the sciences and everything else. So having said that, most of the populace thinks in a certain way. Their approval book is called the world. And so if there's no consensus on the news that something is real or not, then the people don't worry about it. All they have to do is not mention it, and it never enters into the mind of the public to a degree where people will believe it. And so one of the greatest methods that they have in the news is simply not say it. Don't mention it, right? And then it won't be real because nobody said anything. That's the way people think these days. But us being Christians, when we look in the Bible, it doesn't match too well with what the world believes. And in fact, even in the Bible, it said the world can't have the spirit of truth. And if they don't have the spirit of truth, they certainly don't have the answer. Because they don't have the answer, certain people will come to a conclusion, but they're not going to share it with everybody else. Jupiter is a gatekeeper. And what I mean is, Jupiter keeps most of a lot of radiation, a lot of what could penetrate to the inner solar system out. It keeps it away. Its gravitational forces attract a lot of debris to itself. And it will it has ejected plenty of things out of this solar system. If something happens to Jupiter, if the wrong elements get inside of or get sucked into Jupiter, right? The wrong elements at the right time, at the right size, you're looking at Jupiter has gases that can ignite. Jupiter is not 100% a gaseous planet. I know people are taught that it's a gas giant. Well, because nobody can go there and prove otherwise, that I can't go there tonight. Nobody else can either. So I guess we'll leave it at that. But all the celestial mechanics do not support that Jupiter is a gas giant, but rather just a very big potential. I'm going to call it that. Very big potential. We know that it was close to Earth at one point, and that it's known throughout historical times, based on writings, it's known to let's just say alter its own orbit, and that it can disturb all the other giants out there. So it is the gatekeeper. It separates everything that could kill us, and it keeps it outside of Earth. Right?
Wow!
Jupiter could be altered by an introduction of a variety of things, and if it is, we have no more gatekeeper. And if we have no more gatekeeper, right, then the balance of this solar system is going to be off. A lot of rocks and everything else is going to fly right into us. It does every single day, and it's only because of Jupiter's gravitational forces it does not come into the inner solar system.
Folks, this is Mike from Around the World. He's with us. And like I said, Mike, Stephen Ben-Noon gave us the little green file. It was some very, 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 very powerful information on it. And let me just say to all of you watching right now, some of you might say, how do I get this DVD with this powerful information? Mike is really confirming a lot of stuff. He's given us, Mike, you don't know how many times people ask about you and the waves of energy at this amazing conference in Cincinnati. Let me just share this right now. There's 3,200 of you. If you haven't ordered your copy, you should do it right now. Brock, tell them how so they can get their copy ordered. Released from Cincinnati, a 4-part DVD set on the end times. Planet X, Nibiru, the seas rising, the pole shift, Clyde Lewis, John Moore, Stephen Ben-Noon, and myself, bringing forth dynamic information relevant to the last day. You can get this 4-part DVD set at my website or individually at my Patreon channel. The heavens are shaking. This is a must-see. Get it now. Okay, folks, again, get your copy of The Heavens Are Shaking. It's a powerful DVD, give you a lot of information, 4 hours worth of information about why are the heavens shaking and the biblical aspect of it. And Mike Around the World has given us really some tremendous information, and he has for 6 years. And he's told us this was coming. And now it's happening, and now we're starting to get some of the prophetic voices and scientific voices. And Mike, it's like it's a soft disclosure going on. It's kind of a soft disclosure, isn't it?
It is. It really is. More and more, they're showing they're filling up the entertainment scene with bits and pieces of things, right? And you know what? Concerning that, I would say this to all of us as believers. We have guys in government. We got to be careful to know what the fight is in government, right? We got to be careful. Let me mention this real quick. The next thing that people will encounter, right? Everybody can hold me to this. Those of you who are animal lovers, you're going to find your animals are becoming very stressed for no reason, but it will be for a reason. It's going to happen everywhere, and all of that will be due to a certain type of fluctuation in the magnetic field and a certain type of increase of a particle in our atmosphere that will be introduced from something else that is known. It's close. Let's just say it's close. Now, there'll be no major indications at first, except that your animals are going to start stressing out. They're going to be in high stress. I would say right now it's beginning to build. They're going to be in high stress. Pascal, you probably hear a lot of people talking about their animals, how they have to take them to the vet and get something for them. But this will happen worldwide. There is a reason. It's not some strange disease. And I try to spearhead these things so that somebody out there will know that it's not what they're telling you, right?
Yeah.
The reason, just like the things that we covered 6 years ago, the only reason I shared that is because I believe what I believe, and when you know something is coming, if you give a hint of what's coming, right, then people won't fall for the explanations everybody else is giving. That's why they have an argument right now over global warming. Right? A lot of folks don't know. They hear that term. They don't know what it is. They don't know it began with a magnetar. They don't know about the UN meetings and everything else concerning it. It was fear-based. But with all these things that are going to happen, with knowing what the fight truly is, and part of that is to understand what happened in the past. Pastor Paul, when Noah was delivered, there was destruction. When the Israelites were delivered, there was destruction. When we are delivered, it's going to be destruction all over the place. We have nothing to fear. We're going to see this stuff, right? We're going to see a lot of things come to pass. Now, we won't be under God's wrath, but we're going to see it. But it will not harm us. It will refine us. It'll wake us up a little bit, but it's not sent to harm us. It's the same one, the same Jesus who saves us is the same one opening the seals. He authorizes the timing in which these things happen.
Amen.
But for us to know this stuff beforehand, right, we won't shake in our boots and start losing our footing and our faith and our attitudes, because when the animals begin to panic, right, that's when folks will notice more islands popping up at the same time. Now, we have islands forming right now. More islands are forming right now. We have mountain ranges that are forming right now. There's new land masses are coming into play this trip around. And with this increase of forces coming into the earth, things will destabilize, and they're going to do it fast, because we're dealing with celestial resonance. We're dealing with exotic particles coming in, and there's a source, and we're going to experience portions of that source. We're going to see it with our eye, right?
Yep.
But once we see it, I'm telling you now, it's going to be too late.
Too late.
We're going to be in the flow of things.
Yeah, it'll be too late, folks. Mike, ask you another question. Today, the President of the United States, of course, I want to thank you for your service as well as all the veterans out there. But 75 years ago today, it was D-Day and the incredible invasion to save the world of tyranny. The President of the United States, then after the ceremony today, sat down with the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and they both agreed. Macron very easily agreed with the president that Iran has to be stopped. They have to be denuclearized. There you can see a picture. Brock has a picture of them walking through the fields of the headstones of the great soldiers that died that day. And I'm going to ask you, Mike, what's going on with Iran? We're hearing, okay, I'll just give you this. Marine 3-star general, Marine General Frank McKenzie tonight just announced an attack on the United States forces is imminent. It's not a question of if, it's when. Mike, what's going on with Iran, and why is France getting involved?
I'm so glad you asked. In 2000, what was it? 3 years ago. 3 years ago. You remember that statement I made, and while everybody was talking about ISIS and some other things, I said, "Listen, guys, listen. They're not mentioning Iran. Why? Why has no one gone into Iran? Why? Why has no one done that? Iran is a formidable threat. That they're not a pushover. I hope that people understand this. They're not some third world country. They had the best scientists there right after Russia left Iran because they couldn't do anything with it. And right after that moment, these guys had French scientists over there. They have Russian assets over there. Russian assets. The defense net that Russia put up in 2016 covers the totality of Iran. They are protected by the air. No one's going to having any air sorties over Iran because Russia and Iran can take them out at a moment's notice. We lost some drones and equipment over Iran. Israel has lost things. Israel's ideology 3 years ago was we have to take them out now. But everybody said, now listen to this. Everybody knows this. 5 years ago, what did they say? Iran is 10 years away from a nuclear weapon, right?
Yep.
This was 5 years ago.
Yep.
Then 4 years ago, Iran is 2 years away from a nuclear weapon.
Yep.
Then last year, Iran is 10. But listen, if you go back to the tapes in 1991, they said Iran is 10 years away from a nuclear weapon. In 1987, they said Iran could have a nuclear weapon.
Yep.
In 1987, they were searching for 3 ICBMs.
Yep.
3 unaccounted, they were not accounted for, ICBMs that were known to be in Iran. Kim Jong-un has nuclear weapons. He was trading with Iran for all this time. He's been trading with this guy, right?
Yes.
Some of that nuclear material,
Yes.
where do you think it came from? It didn't come from China. They were having deals with Iran.
Yes.
Iran had 3 ICBMs. They have the facilities and the launch systems to prove it. That's why they won't allow them to put anything in space. They have, a couple spaceports?
Yes.
What they do with spaceports? But they wouldn't allow Iran to get into the space race because they were afraid they were actually going to utilize a nuclear weapon. They don't just speak blustery statements. And so General McKenzie understands that these guys don't bluff. And you have that commander that they have, that Iran has. Mr. Salami Baloney.
Yeah, Mr. Salami, yes.
Mr. Salami is ruthless. He really is ruthless, but he's a tactician. He's a tactician. He's not slow. He's planning things. He has planned things out. This guy is the one responsible for quite a few things. Iran can overwhelm quite a few people with small things. See, they have an ideology. They will utilize everything, but they also have some strange weaponry. I'll say it. They have strange weapons that nobody knows about, except Iran and those scientists that work with them, of which they killed.
So
when I say strange, I'm talking about some strange weapons that do not require propulsion, but somehow they can pull things out of the sky.
What?
Okay, that's all I'll say. Because that drone that we had, you just don't shoot a drone like that down, right?
No.
Drones have there's a contingency with all drones to kill themselves before the enemy can get hold of whatever technology is in them. So then they neutralize. The circuitry in that drone, yet bought it down in one piece. You can't crash that drone and have it in one piece like that.
No.
They bought this drone down, and you can see, if you ran a simulation based on the picture they showed, and it was an accurate, real picture, they did not really damage that drone.
So what you're saying, Mike, you're saying that Iran has the technology to capture a drone, to hijack it, to take it away from us, and land it themselves.
Pastor Paula, listen, it was 2016, 2017, 2018. Ships have been known to go near certain areas dealing with Iran and lose all electronic capabilities.
It happened.
And also, not only that, but they wipe the live operating systems that are on those. How do you wipe a live operating system, not harm life around you, no heat source detected, no radiation detected, yet you can shut down a ship from that far away?
Well, Mike,
they don't know what they're utilizing.
Now,
but again, they have the best scientists in the world. Those same scientists that are at CERN, right? Some of those guys at their equivalency were working in Iran for, I think it was 12 years. 12 years on their nuclear program.
Mike, so remember that when President Trump just took over and President Obama said to him, your biggest problem you're going to have in your presidency is Iran. And right after Trump took over, the first summer, we had 4 of our U.S. naval ships rammed by vessels. And there's no way you can ram a U.S. aircraft carrier like the John McCain unless, and they said, we don't know why it happened. We didn't see the boat coming. We didn't, you don't have a radar system there? So somebody paralyzed us. Somebody did something. Are you saying the Iranians have this capability?
Well, let me ask you. Into a ship, people are on deck, right? You have observation posts on deck. Somebody's always looking. Somebody's always observing. So how does something run into a ship unless they can't see it? But not only that, but that means you didn't detect it either. That means your electronics did not detect it. That means the aerial support systems, right? The aerial assets for the Navy did not detect it either, or wouldn't have rammed the ship. That is that's a severe problem. So there's something going on here, right, that nobody knows about.
Okay.
I believe that within circles, it is known. It was known since the 80s. And
well, here's something
they're
else.
going to have to deal with that. They just can't jump in there and do what they want to do. They're going to have to be very strategic.
Is that
and
why
Russia has declared to protect their assets?
Okay, now, Mike, is that why the USS Abraham Lincoln has been setting off the coast of Oman and won't turn the corner and go into the Straits of Hormuz? Because we better not get down. We better not make that curve. I mean, are they sitting and waiting on us? Can they get us?
Well, watch the reported movements, and anybody can go in there and figure that out. You know, watch the reported movements and watch the provocation by both Iran and Russia. The dynamic of this potential conflict has changed. Watch the provocation of Russia. Watch Iran. Iran is emboldened, right, by who backs them. You have to remember that. So we're dealing with something large scale, and America has been blessed. We have been blessed, but we're going to have last time I said that, we're going to have a little wake-up call. They won't destroy us totally, but it's going to wake us up. But we've been blessed. But one thing, this country has also drifted just a bit. We've become too divided. And in every case in the Bible, when people have become divided, well, they had to go through something to get them back together again and do some filtering so that we can think straight again. So, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because in the end, victory will be toward the saints. And who has the most saints in truth? America does. We may be a little, quirky in the mind, but that's because we have so many differences of opinions and we have a lot of freedoms. But before all these things happen, there are going to be some pretty threatening movements from the Middle East. Right now, I would say the Middle East is not a passive subject. It is a critical and detrimental subject. And the president needs prayer above all things, because every decision he makes is going to affect our lives directly or indirectly. So, and there's a lot he's dealing with. There's a lot he's dealing with. So
he doesn't need to have the swamp trying to throw him in prison or impeach him. We got too many big problems. Mike, let me just say this. I want to thank you so much for coming on, being with us. Can we get you on again next week? I mean, I think we're on to something here, and things are, look, the peace deal's coming, the blood moon's coming, Nibiru's coming, the heavens are shaking. Are you able to be with us next Thursday night?
Yeah, and I'm sure you're going to ask me about that. Now, do me a favor, Pastor Paul, just for this 1 week, when you get the image, right?
Right.
Don't air the image yet. Not yet. But just
I'll keep it. Yet. I won't show it. But, I won't air it. I won't show it. Yet. I'll wait till next Thursday night when you're with me.
And then we'll talk about it then, because it's an image.
We'll talk on the phone before we go live. How's that?
That's good. Well, after another week, and it really won't matter, but I'm sure that one more thing to say, Pastor Paul. Can I say this one thing?
Yeah.
Many people, there's some people in this subject of things that have been around for a long time, right?
Yeah.
I would just, you know what? I would ask of everybody, don't let their gain knowledge pass by you, right? These guys have been accumulating knowledge for years. And so in a very short time, people can have that knowledge. Now, when you're given a plate of food, you don't eat everything on it, right? If it's 20 pounds, you have to pick what you can handle. And we're all human, right? We all have theories and we all have opinions and this, that, and the other. So, but just don't let their work be in vain, because people do what they do for a reason. And sometimes even they don't know the reason. But I believe that the Lord has allowed these things to happen because he will not have us ignorant concerning the devices of the enemy. And he will always, always, always disclose to us what he's going to do before he does it.
All right, Mike, I'll look for your images and I will hold them. And we will have you next Thursday night, which will be June the, I don't even know what, 13th. Okay, next Thursday night, June 13th, 10 o'clock, we'll have Mike from around the world with us. Mike, thank you so much for being on. It's a great program tonight.
God bless you, Pastor Paul. Good to be here.
God bless. Mike from around the world, folks.